immigration barristers with over 20 years' experience. Paul, thank you for coming to the studio. What do you make of all this tension here? Do you believe that the issue in Dublin is caused by the Rwanda bill? Are people going there to escape being rounded up?
I think probably it's true, but I'm not sure whether it's people that are claiming asylum, they're arriving in Ireland straight away, or they're choosing to go to Ireland and they're claiming asylum. I think Mark Francois was saying, we have an open border with Ireland, and I don't think that's ever going to close. So it wouldn't surprise me if people are making the trip over. But I think what it all behoves people that are patting the government on the back and Rishi saying, oh, it's having a wonderful effect. My understanding was, unless I've been reading the news or not paying attention, was that it was supposed to deter people from crossing the channel. Now, I think anybody would know that so far we've had 7,167 people arrive this year, which is a record, up from 2022. And if the weather's good, it looks like there's going to be more. And obviously, Chris, looking at it, the Rwanda bill's been all over the newspapers, it's been heading to being passed, and it was passed.
Here's the Guardian today saying the very same thing here. I mean, I was just reflecting earlier, the government really would like to... That's a good headline. Even an advert couldn't pay for that, could they, for the government?
Well, I query whether it's a good advert for the government, because what it's essentially telling any asylum seeker or any lawyer that's slightly disreputable that represents asylum seekers is run away now. And my understanding is that and from other people that work in this area, that lawyers are advising their clients that if they report, they are likely to be detained, or there is a higher risk of them being detained. Now, given that these individuals have travelled halfway across the world and put their lives in danger with the small boats, if they're being told, well, if you go to the Home Office and report, there's a chance you're going to end up in a detention centre and on a plane to Rwanda, I would be very surprised if many people go to report. So it seems to me it's kind of counterproductive.
Have you seen the letters being sent out to try and find migrants to be sent? I
have seen some draft letters and sample letters which say you are a candidate for the return to Rwanda, or not return, you are a candidate for a trip to Rwanda. So they're sending these out to people, and I think that if people get them, then that's going to act as to dissuade them from reporting.
And where are these people? Are they in hotel rooms or are they in the community?
I think a lot of them, and this, Chris, is one of the real tragedies, a lot of them are in hotel accommodation. And this is because that following the previous piece of legislation, all those that arrived on small boats after about the mid-last year, our claims are inadmissible, so they're not being processed. And I was looking at a report. There are about 40,000 people whose claims are inadmissible. The Home Office are just not touching them. They can't remove them, and the law says they can't process them. So these 40,000 people are sitting there...
In limbo.
In limbo, being paid for by the taxpayer.
Well, that makes little sense, so much this policy does. I just wondered whether... Do you think the PM is too soon to say that the scheme is working, judging by what's happening in Dublin and Ireland?
Well, I think he'll look for a win anywhere, to be honest. Yes. And I think that the reality will be, if we get a week or a month of good weather, are people going to still cross the channel? And the real tragedy would be, and listening to all the politicians all trying to pat each other on the back and saying it's splendid, is if we become a transit country for migrants, such as Italy is, where they arrive in Italy, they don't want to stay there because it's not very nice or they're not welcome, so they travel to France and then on to England. If they're going to travel on to Ireland but transit the United Kingdom, the small boats are still going to carry on arriving. And I believe Rishi Sunak said that they were stopping the small boats to save lives. If the people are just coming across, because they're not going to get on a boat from France to Cork, then the numbers, I don't believe, will go down. And also, the criminal gangs, I mean, they're selling a product. Come to the UK. I'm sure they're not saying to people, get on that dangerous small boat. And I saw you had the detail of how dangerous they are. Get on the small boat, take your Charles rubber ring, and by the way, you could be sent to Rwanda.
And you've been through the Rwanda Act now. You've seen where the loopholes are, the concerns maybe Robert Jenrick had when he resigned as immigration minister. Are we heading towards a big battle in July with the European Court of Human Rights?
Yeah, I think you're right there, Chris. I think what's going to happen is that pretty much everybody who has a representative is going to make a claim based upon their personal circumstances. And unless they have something extenuating or potentially mental health, then it's going to end up with Europe probably, and I would put money on this, issuing a Rule 39 injunction saying that the UK cannot remove people.
And that's the moment for the PM.
That's the moment where he's going to hope that, well, he will probably hope that if he steps up and defies Europe, the polls will change in his favour.
On the eve of what could be a long general election campaign going into the autumn.
Well, yes, it could. It's all teed up nicely for him, isn't it?
OK, well, listen, Paul Turner, an eminent immigration barrister, thank you for coming to the studio today and joining us.